It was the dead of summer in Nevada, and the desert stretched endlessly under a scorching sun. Josh was driving back from a business trip in Las Vegas, tired and eager to get home to Reno. The highway was empty for miles, the kind of emptiness that made every twist in the road feel endless. He sipped lukewarm coffee, glancing at the rearview mirror, when something unusual caught his eye. A figure appeared on the side of the road, a young woman, maybe late teens, wearing a thin white dress. Her thumb was out, but she looked completely still, almost like she'd been there for hours. The sun beat down, and the heat shimmered off the asphalt. Josh hesitated, telling himself stories about desert mirages, but something in her eyes made him pull over. The woman climbed in without a word. She smelled faintly of sage and dust, and her hair, long and black, clung to her shoulders as if wet. "Where to?" Josh asked, trying to sound casual. She didn't answer, staring straight ahead, her eyes dark and unreadable. He glanced at the GPS. The nearest town was 20 miles away. "Is that okay?" he said. Her lips moved, whispering something he couldn't hear. Josh leaned closer. "Sorry, I didn't catch that." She smiled faintly, unnaturally wide, and said, "Just follow the road." Her voice was soft but had an echo, like it carried across miles of empty desert. The first few miles were silent, and Josh tried to make conversation, pointing out the cacti, joking about the heat. No response. Then he noticed something. Every time he looked in the rearview mirror, her reflection was slightly delayed. Her eyes blinked a fraction of a second after he saw her, and sometimes when she looked away, her reflection still stared at him. Unease settled in his chest. "Are you okay?" he asked. The car seemed to hum differently, like the engine was straining against something unseen. She tilted her head, almost in mock curiosity, and whispered, "Don't turn around." Josh's heart pounded. He glanced at the mirror again, empty. The passenger seat appeared vacant, but he could swear he felt her there, just out of sight. Goosebumps ran up his arms as the desert sun began to sink behind jagged mountains. The light turned orange, then red, casting long, impossible shadows across the sand. "Why won't you talk to me?" he asked, voice shaking. The girl's head turned slightly, her hair catching the last light, and for a second, her eyes glowed faintly like embers. "They're watching," she said softly. "If you look back, they'll come." Josh swallowed hard. His hands gripped the steering wheel. Every instinct screamed to stop, to get out, but the desert felt alive around him. Heat waves rippled, and for a brief moment, he thought he saw movement in the sand. Figures, crawling low, following them. He blinked, and they were gone. The highway stretched on, and soon the GPS seemed to glitch. The road behind him twisted unnaturally, as if folding in on itself. He realized he hadn't passed a single car for hours, though he swore he had crossed several intersections. Panic rose, and he tried to speak again. "I'm going to the next town, okay?" The girl smiled that same unnatural smile. "No," she said, "not there. They don't want you to stop." Night fell quickly. The stars shone too brightly, and the moon hung impossibly low. Josh's headlights cut through the black, but the shadows seemed to move in rhythm with the car. Every mile felt longer, heavier. His eyes flicked to the girl again, gone. 1 second she was sitting, the next the seat was empty. But a faint chill lingered where she had been. Suddenly the car hit something, or someone. Josh slammed on the brakes. Heart racing, he jumped out into the sand. The desert was empty. No sign of the girl, no body, no footprints. Only the wind whispered through the rocks. When he returned to the car, the driver's seat was empty too. His keys had vanished. He slammed the door in disbelief, then noticed something on the passenger seat, a small crumpled note. Written in a hand he didn't recognize, it said, "Next time you won't get away." Josh ran barefoot through the sand until he reached the highway. Within minutes, another car passed, lights cutting through the dark. He flagged it down, panting and shaking. The driver stared at him for a long moment. Desert madness, they said, eyes flicking to the empty road behind him. Happens to a lot of folks around here. Josh never drove that stretch again. But sometimes, when he passes Nevada back roads alone at night, he swears he sees a figure standing at the roadside. Thin, white dress, hair plastered to her shoulders, thumb out. And if he looks in the rearview mirror just right, those dark, ember-like eyes blink slowly at him.